Alright guys, so in this video I will do a short demo of how Ordana works, what this platform do, how you get onboarded, and what the process actually looks like. We'll show you a bit of the features we have, the possibilities, and how it feels simulating a real collaboration that will take place on the actual platform. And the easiest way to get started immediately is by entering a website right here in our field. So for this, I'm gonna copy my own URL to my own website, and then what you do is you click Find Collaborate. So now what it does is that it is scraping your website and it is understanding what you do. So it will come back with a short text explaining what you do, what you could potentially be looking for, and then it already lists here that, oh, it's found 10 matches for me that I can start collaborating with. If you click View Collaborators, you're prompted to sign up if you don't have an account. After you've signed up with Google or through email and password, you're now taken to the onboarding. So this is where you fill in your name, Melke Pasnak Ivarsson, and what your project does. Next, you can upload your own documents. Again, this is great value for the AI on Ordana to better understand what you're doing and what you could potentially be looking for. But I don't have any, so I'm going to skip this for now. And then here's a direct question. If you have any collaborators that you know that you're looking for immediately, this is where to put it in. Once you've completed setup, you're now in the platform, and the first thing you're met by is the 10 initial suggestions for collaborations that our AI has surfaced for you based on what we found and based on your website. So you can look through this immediately and you can go, oh, Vero Automations, this look interesting. Here we have a traditional dev agency, nice. Here we have a EU portfolio, so it's a platform for portfolio European companies seeking investments. But let's say these are a bit too broad. I'm looking for something very specific. So here I can type something like, I want to set up a scenario collaboration to bundle my services together with other startups to pool our resources, combine our sales effort, and share the upside. I'm going to send this now to the AI. It will again look through all the information about my project and all the information about the other projects on the platform to come up with a cool scenario collaboration. There we go. So now we have an example of what a scenario collaboration looks like. Here you see the elevator description for what the scenario would look like, what it would be, the two members, Jacob and James, who would be invited. So now what I can do immediately from the chat is that I can click create and start chatting. What this will do is that it will immediately send out invites to the suggested collaborators. So we would chat with each other here in the inbox page and get to know each other. And then afterwards, it will set up a scenario for us. I now switched accounts just to show you an example of what a scenario could look like. So after I've clicked the create and invite button from the AI chat, AI automates everything. So it sets up everything you see here, right here on the page. Here you have the members that it's invited, which ones have already accepted and which ones are still pending. What's the scenario about? And it also creates a launch page for you. We noticed from conversations with potential users that they've had ideas for collaborations before. They've had conversations with other startups before about a cool way to bundle together and sell some really cool offer and then share the revenue together. However, they always died in the WhatsApp chat, meaning no one knew how to take the first step. We automate that. We solve the problem by having the AI generate the launch page for you immediately. And then this becomes a landing page that you immediately can start adding to your LinkedIn. You can immediately start creating posts about this. You can immediately start marketing this and sell this to see what the response is. And you can track here what's the CTA is, what's the average duration, how many visitors have you had, how many CTA clicks have clicked it. So this becomes a really powerful tool to quickly test and iterate what ideas you might have. It also automates the first tasks that you will have to do and assigns it to the relevant person to get started. We have a payments tab to connect the correct payments, and then we have a group chat for all the people involved in the project. Then we have the partnership plan. This is where you outline what the collaboration will be. What is this about? Where's the revenue source? What are the responsibilities tied to the different members in the scenario collaboration? Again, this is initially proposed by the AI, so you're never starting from scratch to get an understanding of what it is. The duration of the contracts are 1, 2, or 3 months. You decide the revenue share, and once it's locked in and signed, you cannot change it for safety reasons until the duration is over, and then you renegotiate. Then you add what could go wrong. This is essentially the risk management. And lastly, you add in the contracts and features. We also have governance in place to make sure that you can maintain and run this scenario collaboration safely without having to worry too much about the quality of the other collaborators in case they decide to be bad apples. Now, there's also another type of collaboration you can have on Ordana. So you can have scenario collaborations, which is bundling together a bunch of cool startups for a combined offer, and then you share the revenue as you scale together. So that's aggregating startups together. But we also have bilateral collaborations, two-sided collaborations, which essentially means you have a project owner and a collaborator. And the collaborator delivers and gets a revenue share back in return. Now this we have simulated using a bot, which we will go through so you can see the entire process from end to end. Once you're on the dashboard, you will soon get a notification from our bot. This bot is called CZ, and it will show up in your inbox. It gives you the instructions that, hey, let's run a quick practice collaboration just to see how it looks like on the platform. So you start off by simply responding, let's go. You can respond whatever you want, but as soon as you send a message, it comes back to you immediately with a suggested partnership plan. You can see the partnership plan up here in the top right corner, and you can review what has been written down. So what's this about? What is the deliverable? Then we can click on the deliverable. We can see what are the definitions of done, the title, the deadline, who is responsible for doing this, the proof of completion, the timeline for review. So when someone says, hey, I'm done with my deliverables, how long does the project owner have to review and make sure that it's actually correct? The blockers and handoffs. So we think of this in a value chain. What does this collaborator need to do its job? And what do you need back from the collaborator for the next step of the value chain to take place? Then we have the revenue sharing. So here we have a lot of cool features. We can say you can get 10% of the 10% of the revenue. Your max payout is 10,000 euros. Once you connect your Stripe account and we have what currency you use, this is the currency that will show up here. Duration, we can say that this is for 3 months. And now how is this calculated? This is where most of the cool features really come in place. We can start off with this different standard collaborations. This looks at the total revenue from either every part of your business or a specific part of your business. So I can say standard and total revenue, 10% of that means 10% of everything that comes into my Stripe account, full stop. Then I can do segmented revenue. So if I have from my Stripe dashboard set up different products, if I have a t-shirt, a set of pants, a hat, a pair of shoes, those are different segments of revenues that I can tie this specifically to. So if I sell a bunch of extra hats, that might not be relevant for my collaborator, but if they help me sell pants, then they should probably get a share of that revenue back. We also have value added revenue shares, which means that we look at a baseline. What are you already earning as a project owner? And then we only give the percentage of revenue share on everything that comes above that. So then we can again go on total revenue or segmented revenue. So if I'm right now earning $10,000 a month and I bring on a collaborator to help me make it to $15,000 per month, and we say 10% rev share, then they will get 10% of the additional 500. Hold on, let me get the math straight. They will get 10% of the additional $5,000 that they helped me generate because I've already proven that I can make 10K a month without them. So let's now put this as value added on total revenue, which means that they will get a 10% of the total additional revenue that they helped me generate, and we save this task. What could go wrong? This is essentially the risk management. So then this would be added as a risk, and once we manage the collaboration, we can trigger this risk, but we'll show all of you this later. And I can sign it. So I sign the contract. Here we have the contract. It outlines everything to make sure it's safe. And then I sign it, and this is all fully legally viable. Since this is just a practice collaboration, you can actually put in any name you want. This is not real, but once it's a real collaboration, this is legally binding, and I can sign the contract. And send back to partner. Once I've done this, the bot will take a look at it. It just signed, and now the collaboration is active. So the collaboration only activates when both parties sign the contract. The partnership plan can circle back and forth between the two of you for how many times required to make sure that you both agree on what is there. And as soon as one person has signed the contract and another one makes an edit, the contracts get defaulted back to zero. So sorry, the signatures get defaulted back to zero. So you only sign what you have agreed to sign. If anyone makes a change, you have to sign again. But now this shows up in my project because now we have it set up already. So if I go to my project page, I will see the collaboration right here with Ordana. So this is just what we set up with the bot. I can see the tasks, I can see the deliverables in the value chain. Here I can see the revenue share pop up, 10%. I've paid nothing so far, but this tracks the progress. Here we have the task tracker, and then we have the project risks. So here, fantastic, the bot works quickly. It's already done with the deliverables. We'll get there later. So here I can, if I want to mitigate the risk, I can trigger the risk. So I can say this now happened. This is now a risk that took place and we need to mitigate it. I mitigate it by creating tasks on how to mitigate it. We have an AI that looks through to tell you, for example, hey, here's a collaborator that can help you mitigate this risk now that you've triggered it. So everything is surfaced for you if you have the assisted plan on Ordana. We then have the to-dos tab where you can manage the simple tasks. We have the collaborations, so this is where you can get an overview of all the collaborations you have. If something were to go sour, you can pause a collaboration, which means that you're pausing the payouts. And you can also request a deletion. Here you have the overview of the payments, the invoices that's been paid, a chat between the two of you again. Sorry, the chat between all the collaborators working in your project, and then an info page. So this is where all the information about your project is stored. This is where the AI draws information from. So if you want to update where the AI gets information from, you update it here from the info tab on the project page. And if you are the collaborator, you see the same view, but from the collaborating view. So then you can click here on all projects and collaboration will be listed here as a card. You click it and you get a similar view, but then as a collaborator. So you can easily keep track of which collaborations you are a project owner in, which collaborations you're a collaborator in, and which collaborations are scenario collaborations, which we have here. We also have a marketplace tab. So this is where you can see other cool apps and features that will be launched on Ordana coming very soon. We also have a network tab. So if you're wondering what resources are available and requested on the platform, this is where you can get an overview. So you can say here, for example, that the most unmet need is marketing. And then you can click here, for example, and you get a list of all the projects on the platform looking for marketing if that's what you're selling. But now going back to your project, the bot has now finished the deliverable. So it shows up like this. What I now do is I click on it, I will click review, and then I review that everything actually is correct. What's the deliverable? Is the acceptance criteria ticked in? Has he submitted the evidences? Was there any additional notes? Yes, there we go, fantastic. Now I have three options. I can accept, I can put it in cure with minor issues, or I can accept and hold. If I accept, collaboration is accepted, the collaboration is finished, the rev share will still run until the last duration, but it's all done and over with since he did a great job. If there are some minor edits I want him to do, he made almost a good job, but just some few edits here and there that I would like him to do, I can click minor issues and I can say add a fix, 3 distribution channels, and I can say only 2 are active. I can submit a minor rejection. Now what this does is it sends it back to the collaborator. He gets it as a task, and then he comes back when he's finished, which the bot now has already done because it works so quickly. Technology is amazing, isn't it? So now we can redo the same thing once again, and now we can go to the third option, which is accept and hold. For safety reasons for the collaborator, we cannot just say decline, because that means that the rev share entitlement will be stopped. And if the collaborator has actually delivered what he promised, and the project owner just decides to be a dick about it, then we cannot have that in as a feature. So instead you can do accept and hold. So here you can have a holdback percentage. This means that out of the total cap that you decided on the revenue share, you can put back and lower it by as much as 70% to make sure that you don't pay the full amount. If the collaborator doesn't agree with this, we will send you all the details and information from what you've done on the platform, and then you can take it to court yourselves. Here we can say 50% because let's say the job was done horribly and I can give a reason for the holdback. But for the sake of this simulation, let's end it on a good note. And let's just say that, yes, you did great. We accept, we submit acceptance, and now the collaboration is finished. The project pages are cleared up, and now we're back to scratch. I hope this demo answered all of your questions about what Ordana is, what you can use it for, how it's valuable, what features we have, what safety measures are in place. And I hope this inspired you to actually come on board, bring the people you want to collaborate with, or use our AI to find people to collaborate with, so you can really tap into the resources that exists around you, access them through RevShare collaborations, and launch and scale your startup successfully without needing any upfront capital. Thank you.